I just want you to experience the touch. I'm going to touch you a little bit harder
Okay.
than Sonia, but not much,
Okay.
just because you're a bigger person. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to go under your shoulder just to show the connection to the hip.
Okay.
So right when I first start to touch, you see how there's very little movement through the hips. So notice I'm not doing anything like
Right.
this, right? Because even, and this is what I'm trying to prove, and this is where you have to watch the therapist. You're lying down, nothing's gonna happen to you. I have a 36-inch wide table, but if I suddenly go like this, do you see how your muscles immediately go into a protective response? So for any therapist that grabs your child or any child and just goes, come on, we're gonna go on all fours, especially when their system's compromised, they have to recover just even from that initial touch.
Okay.
And this is where I'm trying to teach touch as well as the movement lesson, because I see that with therapy, like, come on, and they put them on a ball and they're literally like, for dear life, because it's such a threat. Again, you didn't fall down, I didn't hurt you by doing that, but we have a natural response, and especially in standing up, or if you're at the edge of the table and I actually push you just a little bit. I mean, that flight or flight, that ATNR, that spasticity, seizure, all that stuff can happen at a different level. So anytime I touch someone, first of all, I stay connected. So either this hand stays, I move this, or this hand stays and I move this.
Okay.
So I always have that connection going, and you'll just really see that with the babies and stuff. But so I'm just looking to rock the pelvis, but at the same time lift your shoulder. You see right there how it gets stuck, or it's. After this, it's a force. You see that?
Right.
I never go past a force.
Okay.
My touch is always with the rotation. Because
And how do I know what I'm rotating or even how to
that
rotate
part
this?
doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as I can be right here, see rotation, rotation,
So
rotation.
just kind of it doesn't matter which direction you're doing the rotation.
It
Okay.
doesn't matter. But for whatever reason, that's what connects to your neural pathways.
Okay.
If I just touched you, see how it's just not even going through your body.
Right.
Just that little bit of rotation. See how I can pull on the diaphragm and the hips into the shoulder. See how it just gets
Okay.
into your body at a more systematic response. Now this is just a lift, I get it, but this part I'm rotating.
Okay.
And I'm gonna come back.
So now why do you use the shoulder?
Because what I'm doing here is just teaching your body a little bit of counterbalance, but also to connect parts.
Okay.
For me to just sit there and go shoulder lift, see how now you're stuck in your lower back. Do you
Okay.
feel that?
Yeah.
But if I go here, see now, what I'm doing is I'm allowing that movement to go somewhere.
Okay.
If I hit a wall, that wall's gonna win, and that movement goes back to my arm, and that's what makes the car crash and get all damaged. Because that force, no matter what, and this is just basic principles of physics, has to go somewhere. So if for whatever reason you're blocked, stuck, tight, or whatever verbiage you use, then again it just stops the movement. And that's why I'm against, or that's why the AFOs and stuff cause such a problem, because again, it's just an inanimate object. Just if someone were to have an artificial hip, there's no movement going through that hip.
Okay.
So I'm not saying don't replace the hip, but I'm saying if the hip does get replaced with pins or this, that, then I have to make the feet and the chest cavity work better. And that's where my thinking cap comes on, or I can troubleshoot better than the average bear.
Okay.
Because I just have such a wide range of experience.
Right.
I don't work on just kids with autism, let's say. I work with all sorts of, I probably worked on 12 or more rare genetic disorders I've worked on. So it's not so much there. See how the shoulder's starting to give?
So is it just
There you go. See
Like
how
you
you're
just
starting to roll over?
play?
Yeah, it's just
Is
play.
that okay? Can you do anything wrong?
Not if you're sticking with these two principles.
Okay.
You never want to be like, okay, look at that, you just,
Just grab on.
right? You just want to go, that's all I do is I touch with rotation. Come on. Even if I want a healthy stress, for me to just yank your arm versus rotating, I can get so more with this.
And overall, is it just the message that it's sending to the brain that teaches your body how to move, or like how does it translate into her, like for
Okay,
carryover, I guess?
for her, for baby to learn, they need to respond to stimulus. Well, my touch is a stimulus. So if I touch in a way, see, when I'm touching like this, your body doesn't know where you end and I begin. If I was yanking your leg or creating a force, your body's already saying, okay, Michelle, stop, or don't do that, instead of, oh, this is just really nice. That's why it's so unassuming, because you think you're not doing anything, but the reason that means that you are doing something, because nobody knows the influence, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say it's my way or the highway with my touch.
All right.
And I'm also not trying to get you to do certain things. I've never touched you before, so I'm touching you in a way that your body's going to respond to my touch. So by her being able to respond to stimulus, which is my touch, she immediately gets more intelligent.
Okay.
But see, I'm working on, see how this is rolling over, see how now your chest cavity is somewhere to go if you were to roll over on your left. Now, you won't be able to because you have the bolsters
Right.
here, but,
She would start.
right. And that's why you start seeing stuff like, what do you mean she can roll over? Or what do you mean she can do? But for me to be like, okay, you know,
Cross my leg.
no, Sonia, you're gonna roll over now, and you know what I mean? See how you're stuck.
Right.
So if I keep doing something in such a way that her brain's saying,
And then
I
every
can't
time you
do
do
this,
it-
I can't do this, I can't do this, and you expect them to do stuff, but she doesn't have purposeful muscle movement. She's just there to respond to stimulus, good,
Right.
bad, or indifference. That's all a baby's meant to do. They will eventually start to change that to say, oh, but
this
if I
is how-
touch this a certain way or move a certain way, I get X results.
Okay.
But they still can't say, okay, stomach, crunch now,
Right.
let's do this, I'm gonna go for a sit-up. It just has to be this natural transferring of movement. And that's where I think a lot of people are going wrong with working with the infants, because they expect an infant to be responding the way you learn.
Right.
You learn differently. I have to explain things to you, I have to prove myself in a way. I can't just teach you this and be unsuccessful with you. If I'm unsuccessful with you, then you would doubt your work with her. You know, it goes on and on. She doesn't judge me.
Right.
You know,
She's
as
like,
long as
"Alright."
I'm not hurting her and I'm just playing with her naturally, she's just like, wahoo, you know. But if I suddenly keep doing this and then add a ball to it, she doesn't know that she's not lifting her hand to touch the ball. But her brain's like, ooh, I can do that. So then later on, when I'm not there, then the hand starts doing these kind
Okay.
of things just naturally. I'm a Harry Potter. Are you a Harry Potter fan? Have you ever done Harry Potter?
I've read.
Okay. So you know at the point where he's like, you know, how did you know how to do Patronus? Because he said I already did it.
Right.
It's that same concept, you know. See, I can feel where it's jamming in the shoulder, but I'm not yanking your arm, going for a stretch, any kind of those conventional ways of touching or working with someone. So as long as you don't touch in a way that you're harming them, and you keep with this rotation, if you really keep with those kind of two principles, you can't help but add something to it.
Right.
Again, you're not gonna have the troubleshooting capabilities
Right.
that I might have, that just comes with experience. And you'll actually learn more by working with your other kids. You know,
Okay.
just chilling with them, watching TV when they're actually in snuggle mode, I would go for that first versus,
Okay.
come here, mommy wants to try something new, you know, like, yeah. And so you'll feel the different responses of the different, you know, your kids and then with Sonia. And all I'm doing by this is saying, I really like your participation in this movement.
So am I supposed to help you, or no? I'm supposed to.
No. However, if you were a kid that was playing, I wouldn't stop it.
Right.
It's just that easy. But see, two right here, it's very heavy.
Right.
So, now again, if you were a baby, if this, your arm was, quote, this heavy, deal breaker. They don't do anything that's difficult, they don't do anything that hurts them. They're used to transferring weight, not lifting. You look at the way they touch a ball, touch an object, they transfer, they don't lift, they don't, you know,
Right.
as they get older and they have again, where they can talk to their muscles more, then they go into a lift mode. That's it, see now the shoulder's getting nice. And now I'll just go on the other side just to show you the
Okay.
difference.
Yeah, because now I feel the difference. I
Right,
feel
right.
like.
And then also see that movement's not going anywhere.
Right, it's like feels so much more heavy on the side.
Right. So does that make sense?
Yes.
So now I'm gonna leave you lopsided and get up just to see
Okay.
if you notice a difference when you're walking and stuff.
Well, I do feel like my right side's like totally loose.
But you just see how I was talking the whole time.
Right.
I hardly did anything with
Right.
you, but your brain's like, and so once your brain knows an easier way of doing something, done deal.